Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention?
Oh, this is gonna be fun. We can stay up late, swapping manly stories, and in the morning, I'm making waffles.
Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
I can see Russia from my house.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
We like drink box water bottles.
I don't know. A proof is a proof. What kind of a proof? It's a proof.
Here come the flag. Champions. 1989. Canadians win the Stanley Cup.
El Presidente, El Perfecto. Sidney Crosby, the golden goal. And the Blue Jays have repeated as World Series champions. Touch 'em all, Joe. You'll never hit a bigger home run in your life.
Welcome to the Edge of Tomfoolery.
Happy snow. I gotta say, I'm just fired up to be here today. Pretty cool. Wow.
Hey, what is going on, people? My name is Bruce Mackey, and this is the Edge of Tomfoolery, Season 2, Episode 2. It's the double whammy, and with me, the double whammy of co-hosts, the man himself, the man, the myth, the legend. It's Ivanhoe's own, the mayor of cheese himself, Mr. Bob Morris. Bobby, how are you?
I'm thoughtful, Bruce. I'm good.
Maybe I forgot to plug in his mic. Maybe it's not working. I don't know what's going on. The man from the middle of the lockdown state, the province that has said no more, Mr. Stephen Height from Calgary, Alberta. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. I'm decidedly less thoughtful than Mr. Morris, so let's not kid ourselves.
Is very thoughtful, and
Exactly.
and for that we are grateful. We are thankful that he is thoughtful, and I am thankful that you guys are here. It was good to be back. We missed the entire summer, and then we recorded the show. And might I add, I listened to the podcast last week. Unlike my wife, I listened to the podcast, and I thought, you know what, it was for missing the whole summer. I thought we did pretty good.
Oh yeah, we were killing it.
I'm excited about this week. We're going to talk politics.
Oh yeah,
that's why I'm wearing. And now, Bob, you're wearing a green shirt. Is it Anne-Marie Paul? Is that her name, Stevie?
I believe that's the leader of the Green Party. So I have some questions for Bobby about that one. So that's good.
We'll talk about why she's included in some of the debates, and Mad Max, who's probably got 2 or 3 times the volume of votes, is not. We'll discuss that, eh?
Yeah, we should.
But first, we have to have an update.
Sure, man. I think I do remember hearing something on TV about colon cleansing. They say everyone should have one. I'm thinking about getting me an appointment and go down and get my colon cleansed thoroughly.
You want your colon clean? Man, I'm gonna clean mine. Yeah, my colon is clean. I'm talking squeaky clean.
Squeaky clean. Last week, we talked about the joys of turning 50 and booking a colonoscopy. And I just want to tell you, on Tuesday, I went for mine, and I'm happy to say I'm squeaky clean.
What a segue to the election.
Yeah, we're not there yet, Bob. We're not there yet. Yeah, it was, yeah, let me tell you, you've gone for one, right, Stevie?
Oh yes, I have. It's a blast. Is that the term, Bobby? Is that what they call it?
The blast is definitely unique.
Oh yeah.
I had to. So what happened on Monday night? Couldn't eat at all. So my wife made me some soup, some chicken broth. So I couldn't eat. I just had to have clear liquids on Monday. And then at 7 o'clock, you got to have the juice. You got to have this special punch. And so I'm like, okay, I'll start at 7, and I had to pick up my daughter from her job at 8.
Ooh.
So I'm like, do I have time to go and get her? And so I had the juice at 7, but nothing had worked yet. So I'm like, I'm feeling good. I'm good.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm going in, and partway into Belleville, I'm like, this may not have been the wisest thing in the world.
There you
I
go.
might not wanted to do this. So, but I did. I came home and I had a Zoom meeting And during the Zoom meeting, I excused myself several times. And
There you go.
yeah, but let me tell you, after I went in for my procedure,
yes,
I remember they bring you in, and I came in. I had a Habs shirt on and a Expos hat, and I went in, and the doctor, Dr. Barnaby, comes in. He goes, introduces himself, and he goes, "Wait a second." And I said, "Yeah, your daughter's on my daughter's soccer team. We know each other from soccer." He's like, "That's where I recognize you." And I'm thinking, you're about to see more of me than you bargained for. You know, like,
good thing you recognized your face, Bruce. I'll just say that. Good thing you recognized your face.
So we're like, okay. And then he says, "Wait a second, were you wearing the Habs stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was." And he goes, and he yells at his nurse. He goes, "Get out the barbed wire."
Good man.
So then he gets down there, and whoever the lady is, I think she was a Habs fan. She's the one that puts me under.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, I am wide awake. There is no chance. Like, they're going to have to really up the, and I'm like, I am not tired at all. Like, I am just,
oh no, just like that. Eh?
Yeah. Just like that. I don't remember anything else. And then I remember waking up, and let me tell you, I felt good. Like,
okay.
When I woke up, I felt like the best sleep I've ever had in my life. I really did. And it was, and then he came in afterwards, and he talked to me. He said, everything was good. You don't have to see it till you're 60 again. I'm like, sorry. When I turned 60, he's like, well, I'll see you then. And, but the thing that I found interesting, we had talked about this on last week's episode, and I had put the show up probably a few minutes after as soon as we were done, I upped it. And within about 10 minutes of me uploading the podcast, I got a text from Cork Hannah, who said, "You're gonna love it. You're gonna feel great. You're gonna feel great after."
There it is.
Like, wow, he probably is our only listener, and he listens every episode. It was
never misses, and consumes the whole thing. He knows all of what you said, Brucey. So
yeah. So then I after the colonoscopy, the doctor came in and said it was good, and then the nurse came in, or someone came to take me out and said, "Maybe I'll put you in a wheelchair." I'm like, I'm too proud for that. I said, "No, I'm good." So I stood up, and then I'm like, "Oh, this might not be a good idea." But I huffed her, and I went down there.
Oh, and,
wow! I made it out, and so then I could see my wife waiting for me, and it was great. It was fantastic. So there we go.
Wow.
So when do you have to go again, Stevie? Another 5 years?
Another 5. Yeah. So I'm I'll go. It's except for the drink, everything's fine. But I had that Colite stuff. Man, it's terrible.
Oh, the drink itself, though, when you haven't had anything to eat, and it's like, oh, this actually tastes kind of good, and then it's like, whoa, it works pretty good too.
And then like the 18th time you drink it, you're like, yeah, I'm kind of over this stuff.
Yeah, this is true. We've got to talk. We'll segue into the next portion here.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
The prophecy of tomfoolery.
The prophecy of tomfoolery. It's when we talk about something one week on the episode, and the next week it comes true, or So last week we talked about COVID and how things were opening up, and as soon as we say that, Alberta, I mean, our little Texas has he made an announcement. Jason Kenney made an announcement, basically said we're shutting down and calling in the army here. So tell us what's happening out in Alberta, Stevie.
Yeah, I'd call it a slight hiccup in our open for summer plan.
Slight hiccup.
Yeah, apparently holding Calgary Stampede was unwise for us, and so our case count has skyrocketed, and so it's an interesting thing because we were also told by lovely Premier Kenney that we would not be getting a vaccine passport.
We were told that too.
Yeah, we're not. It's called a restriction program. So
what's the difference between a vaccine passport and a restriction program? Can you let us know about that?
Nothing, except for those that are like, well, it's not a vaccine passport. Like it's the same thing. Yeah. So
interesting. And you have your vaccine.
I have I shouldn't show, I'll just flip it quickly here. But
there we go.
I got a card on the back of my phone here. So
is there any truth to the rumor that with the vaccine passport you can get 2% less on your tithe at church?
Yeah, and I'm sure. Well, I don't know about that. Other places, I'm sure, will give you deals. I don't know if church is a place, but yeah, there was a point there where I just read before we came on here that they were going to include retail, and everyone was kind of freaking out because it was like you were going to go to the mall and like every store you're going to have to show it, just even to get into the store, and so they've pulled that back. So I don't know what'll happen with that, but yeah.
Well, and it's interesting to know, it didn't make the news much here, but I mean, we know that the vaccine, it's effective for like 4 to 6 months, somewhere in that range. And then it's kind of a well-known fact, you're supposed to get a booster after that. Well, now the FDA on Friday, by a vote of 16-2, rejected the boosters for people 16 to 65. And they've said that over 65 and those at risk, they voted 18-0 to approve that. But if between 16 and 65, they've rejected it because there's too much risk by the third booster. So there's a lot that's going to happen over the next 6 months. Certain things are starting to unravel. And I think by this time next year, we'll know whether there will be boosters, whether there will be, more therapeutics, whether what's going to happen. I don't think we know, but who knows? Anthony Fauci.
Oh yeah,
God,
Tony.
Sorry. God knows. I'm like, not for Tony Fauci. No.
Yeah.
Speaking of Tony Fauci, did you ever see his opening day pitch with the Washington Nationals?
No.
Was it like 50 Cent bad, or how bad are we talking?
It was worse than 50 Cent. It went way. It went way over.
I saw John Daly fire one up into the stands a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that was good. I didn't recognize him.
Oh yeah.
He looks like, because of this whole pandemic, people have gone white that normally would color their hair, but he's like white, like he's Santa Claus white with the beard, the whole 9 yards. And
yeah, I wouldn't ask him to get my kids to go anywhere near John Daly, but yeah. I get he's not exactly Santa looking.
So
the mullet, the Santa mullet. If Santa had a mullet, yeah.
So Alberta is you guys are locked down or shut down, or is it not really a lockdown, or just?
Well, it's I don't know what I would describe it. I feel like it's going to be a lockdown if you're not vaccinated. But that's this whole thing with the passport, right? Or the restriction protocol.
Yeah, like if you're unvaccinated, you can't have anyone over.
Right.
But if you are vaccinated, you could have people over.
Yeah. And
question. If you are vaccinated, can you have an unvaccinated over?
No.
As a part of your 5.
Yeah, no, you can't.
You can.
Yeah. And so like Stamps games, Flames games, you can't go to any of those things. It's going to be an interesting fall.
and when has it been okay to ask, when you've had certain medical procedures, like I feel willing that, hey, I can just share people. I had a colonoscopy and I'm good. Because, I just want to tell you that, right?
Yeah.
But it's interesting how, people are okay to ask anything anymore. And are the lights on where you are, Bob?
No.
Oh.
The screen's not even on. I'm faking. I'm just kind of looking at the
screen's not on? Oh, you can't even see it?
No, I'm just grinning and nodding.
Okay.
This is amazing.
Talk amongst yourself. I'll go turn the lights on for you.
Okay.
Oh, good, Bobby.
Yeah.
Yes, Bobby. So we Ontario sort of started this fad off with the whole vaccine passport thing. Yep. So there you go. That's better, eh? And he may even jiggle your mouse so you can actually see what's going on here.
Yeah, I didn't know what to press. Oh, there we go. We're back.
There you go. Oh, good. This is a huge relief.
No, I was being, as I said before, very thoughtful. I was wondering, is the colonoscopy similar to the COVID-19 insofar as you're not fully cleansed unless you've had 2?
I think that's exactly how it works.
Yeah, that's all. That's what was going through my mind. Sorry, I'll get back in tune.
We the other night, I don't know about you, but COVID-19 just we've had in our own house to say, listen, let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
I'm done with it. And then Stevie, you got rid of Facebook because of the was it because of
COVID? Yeah. I mean, I sometimes tangentially like not a lot of people, and I just was liking them less. So I've got very small circles. And so it was like,
You still like us?
oh yeah, you guys are great. You guys are great. But it's just one of those things where I was like, I need some more good news. So, you know, I was looking for it.
I've got a story I want to share with you in a second here. But before I do that, we had a church shower in our backyard today, a double baby shower.
Whoa.
And yes, so that was in the backyard. And actually your sister, Steve, was here and did the devotional for the shower.
Oh, cool.
And your mother was here. The hurricane was here as well.
Oh, and nice. Twofer. That's a twofer. That's nice, Bobby.
But I have come to discover, I've always known this, but your mother really doesn't like dogs. And she's quite scared of Ginger. I mean, she's a doodle. Like, don't be scared of Ginger. She was not.
Just any, like, I think we grew up with sort of any animal's the one you're probably eating. Like, it wasn't like we just didn't see any purpose in, like, we like a nice steak, but like domesticating animals just didn't really feel like a thing. So,
and then I your sister listens. She's behind on our podcast, but she loves watching them. She loves listening to them, but she prefers to watch them in person, like to watch them on YouTube. She prefers to see our face. And I'm like, that's nice. She likes to see us.
Is it because you can do the double speed on the YouTube? Is that what maybe that's what it's all about?
I think she likes our facial expression.
Okay, all right, good.
The other thing I've come to discover is your mother, I don't think, has watched the one. I think.
Oh no, yeah.
I don't think this is her cup of tea.
No, I know. I'm not my mother's target audience, or she's not mine. The Venn diagram between mom and I, they don't really overlap. Let's just say that.
Well, I want to let me just see. Let's go back into some Blue Jays talk here. And
down his footing. He hits one high and deep to left, and that ball is just inside.
Vladdy Guerrero is on fire. Bob, have you watched any of the games?
I saw a little bit of the one last night.
Yeah. And today, after the game, it was a really cool thing. After the game today, Josh Donaldson was in town with Minnesota, and after the game, they met behind home plate and they signed their own jerseys and exchanged jerseys. So cool. It was very, very cool. And Josh Donaldson has come out. He's actually, I think his wife, or I don't know if she's technically his wife, but the mother of his child is from Toronto. So he comes back to Toronto a fair bit. And he's openly come out and said that he believes Vlad Guerrero should be the AL MVP. And Bob, what's your Shohei Ohtani is a once in a lifetime talent. What do you think? Like between Shohei and Vladdy, who do you pick? Who's your vote?
Well, I do love Vladdy, and I would love to see him get it, but
are you Shohei?
How can you not?
I mean, what's his batting average?
I'm not even sure. A lot.
I think he's in the two, but I think Vladdy is leading the AL in batting average. He's leading the majors in home runs, and he's second or third in RBI. So
close to the Triple Crown.
He's very close. And you have to look, would Toronto be in the playoff hunt if not for Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? Okay, Steve, what do you think?
Yeah, no way. There's no way they are. Well, I mean, the problem is I think Vladdy's going to win a few of these. And I don't know if you would see a guy doing this with the pitching and with the hitting ever again. But like, yeah, I mean, this you go back. Who do you go back to? Like Babe Ruth? Who's the last time a guy would pitch? And even Babe gave it up after just a few years. So I think we may see one or two more years where this guy pitches and hits, and then he just picks one and sticks with it. He'll probably stick with the hitting. So I don't think he's an MVP by doing just one or the other.
Is he what's his record in pitching? I mean, I just saw his home record. He was 6-0.
Yeah, I'd have to look it up here.
I have been all this season saying, well, Vlad's not going to win. He's not going to win. He's not going to win. And over the last 2 weeks, I'm like, Shohei has hit a kind of a soft. He's kind of slowed down a bit, and on the batting front. And when you look at the Angels and when you look at the Jays, it's like One team is almost playoff bound. Now they were out of the playoffs yesterday, and I thought that's because of Bob Morris, because Bob said they were going to get it. Remember, Bob, you gave him the kiss of death last week.
Oh, absolutely.
And I thought, oh no. But anyway, so now I'm back on. I think it's Vladdy. Like he in hitting, and is he most valuable to his team? I say he is. But that's just me.
Yeah. And are the Angels going to make the playoffs?
No.
Yeah, there's a bunch of these factors they throw into this, right? They're like, is a team like, are they carrying the team? Is a team do well? They've always said that they don't like to make the MVP for a team that doesn't make the playoffs. But like, if Vladdy wins a Triple Crown and he isn't the MVP because of this guy's season, like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff.
Stranger things have happened. Like last year, Ryan Tepera, he got an MVP vote. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
Former Blue Jay. He was pitching for the Cubs. And apparently a guy hit the wrong button and he got an MVP.
Yeah. I was wondering how that could happen.
Yeah. So who is the hardest working Toronto Blue Jay? Who would you say is the hardest working Toronto Blue Jay? And I'm going to suggest to you, his name is Hector LeBron. Do you know who Hector LeBron is? He's the translator.
Oh, yeah. I was like, why do I not recognize this guy? Yeah.
He's the translator. And they interviewed Vladdy today. So he comes out, and then Hazel May, of course, says the thing, and then Hector takes it, and then he has to listen to it. Like she's going on and on and on.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, I don't think he's retaining any of what she's saying. And so then he just translates it, and then Vladdy listens to it, and then Vladdy says it back. Like it's 3 times, then Vladdy says it back, and then he listens, and then he's like, he says it was a good game. So do you ever wonder if they're making any sense at all? Like, do you ever wonder if he's just listening, going, and then just makes up?
Probably making it up.
Yeah, there's got to be some translator shorthand where they're like, yeah, you get the point. Like you.
Okay.
Just say this.
Speaking of translator shorthand, let me just see if I can play. Is this playing? Oh, here we go. Okay, I want to play you something, and I'm going to hold it up to the screen, and hopefully you can see it. This was a story. It just made me laugh and laugh and laugh. Let me see.
Accused of signing total gibberish. This time, it was at the police news conference announcing an arrest in the Tampa serial killings.
We will be charging 4 counts of first-degree murder.
Standing off to the side, apparently translating every word, this woman.
We received over 5,000 tips in this case.
But it turns out much of what she was signing was nonsense. She waved her arms around like she was singing Jingle Bells, says one outraged sign language expert.
Wow.
Identified as Derlin Roberts, has a string of arrests for fraud. So how did she come to be translating at last week's high-profile police news conference?
I just didn't ask enough questions.
Tampa Police Public Information Officer Steve Hegarty told me the woman simply...
Yeah. She just showed up. She showed up and said, I can do it. And he's like, fine, get in there. And she looked like she knew what she was doing.
Wow.
And just going away and just bloop, bloop, bloop. And then it was gibberish. It looked like she was singing Jingle Bells.
Jingle Bells, yeah.
I laugh. Isn't that funny?
I love that statement. I just didn't ask enough questions. I like 0. Like, what was your number of questions you asked her? 0.
Like Dale Abel, I gotta wonder sometimes, eh?
Yeah.
Jen and Don Stafford, right? KG up there.
Yeah.
I don't think she knows what she's saying. She's just going off, going.
There's got to be sometimes that they're like, but they probably get some hand raises. Like I've seen some fast talkers from the pulpit, and I'm telling you, you can't get them all.
Slow down.
Yeah, it's
I
like
have to wonder about translators.
It's like watching closed captioning sometimes. Sometimes I'll turn it on because if I know something that I've like a ball game, I know they're not going to catch it all. And there's some good stuff they throw up there.
Yeah, for sure.
Close.
For sure. Election 2021. This is our final episode. We wanted to make sure we came on the night before and talk about the election. Have either of you voted yet?
Not as of yet.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
No, I like the day of. It's way more exciting for me. I go right up to the last minute. The polls are open, Brucey.
I like to do both. I like to do the mail-in, the advance, and in person. So I like
triple it up.
right?
I think if you could vote for the next 40 elections in one ballot, you'd probably do that. I think probably you would just sign them all just to make sure you were covered, right?
Yeah, but I'm a little nervous about what's going to happen. The Jason Kenney announcement, shutting down. Do you think that's going to have any impact on the federal election? Because I do. I think O'Toole just lost it right on that announcement alone. What do you think, Bob?
Could be.
But you're voting for Anne-Marie Paul, right?
No comment.
Stevie, what do you think? Do you think it's going to have any impact?
I think whether it has an impact or not, if he doesn't get at least a minority, O'Toole will blame Kenney for it. I mean,
you think Alberta could have waited like 4 more days?
I mean, what's the term? Like, how much collateral damage do you do election collateral damage or actual live collateral damage? Like, that's the thing, right? It's like, so, if I'm a bit harsh in this stuff, but like, if Toolsy, as I call him, if he wanted to do better, then just do better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if
you want to build back better.
Yeah. If you're like, it just feels a little bit like easy to find some scapegoats and things like that, right? Like, I mean, and I think you have to evaluate Canada as a whole. Like, I just been fascinated by this whole thing because it's like all of a sudden you need to have this like, oh, we're going to be more to the center. And I know this from Alberta because in Alberta we had the Conservatives and then we had the Wild Rose Party.
Yeah, talk to me about Wild Rose. Were they like farther right?
Yeah, because they felt like the Conservatives were only in Alberta. Can I make a statement like this? Where the Conservatives weren't conservative enough.
Yeah.
So later there was this other party where like we're more conservative. And I think all this, I kind of sloughed them off last week because I was like, I don't think the PPC are going to do it, but anything.
PPC
but the more
are starting to scare me.
The more I've read, the more I'm like, because it feels like the Conservatives under Toolsy are heading towards a bit more center. All of a sudden, if you do that, like someone else creeps up, like, and it didn't quite work that way exactly with the Liberals and the NDP, but it sort of became that way where like as one tries to hit the center, you either
alienate part of your party.
Yeah, you alienate. So you either alienate the middle part or you alienate on the ends. I mean,
in 1993, this happened, and that was after Mulrooney had stepped down, and then Kim Campbell. We all remember Kim Campbell coming in as our. How long was she in for, Bob? Like 3 months, or just?
It was less than 6.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, wow.
It was less than. Was it? It was less than Joe Clark, I think, right? When Joe
High River, Alberta's own Joe Clark. There he is.
So she went in, and the Conservatives were decimated down to 2 seats.
Yeah.
2 seats, and then at that time, Preston Manning had come in from the West.
The Reform Party.
Reform.
Yeah, and those were guys that were saying the Conservatives weren't conservative enough, right? And so that
common sense.
Yeah.
So Mad Max, as I like to call him, remember when he was in the Conservative Party and he left when he was in government, he left some top secret stuff in a briefcase, and his girlfriend, who wasn't she with like Hell's Angels or something like that? And she took some of the documents or saw some top secret documents. And I'm like, I don't know if I want him, but I think, I really think I've been surprised lately, like people who I've known that are true blue all their life. And all of a sudden I'm like, is that a like you would know it because you're not on Facebook, but there's purple on their posts and PPC stuff. And I'm like, they're not as blatant as Bob is here wearing green. Sorry, showing his love for Elizabeth May. No, I'm just teasing you, Bob. But
top of the laundry basket, Bruce. Top of the laundry basket.
I think like in Ontario, I think it's going to be a difference maker. And I think if you combine the PPC and the Conservative vote together, it's a different election than is going to happen tomorrow. I think tomorrow, the PPC, I don't think they're going to win any seats. I think they're going to lose some conservative seats, is what I think.
Yeah, I think they're going to make a mess of things. And as we all know, the election is just the Ontario election. We can call it the federal election, but every time
it's all about
it's all there. Like
it's already decided before it gets.
Yeah.
So I think it goes till 9 o'clock though. I think. And do you guys close like early? The polls close early, or do they announce it later? Or
I think our cars close a little early. I don't. Does that mean it closes at 6 in BC? That feels really early to me. But
maybe it closes a little bit later. But
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's been some conservative movement in the East. Nova Scotia elected a conservative premier for the first time in a while. 600. This is what my prediction. We're going to go around the horn here and ask for predictions here. But $610 million to have this election. Is it going to change a thing? And I think the Liberals will be close to the same. I think it's going to be a Liberal minority. And I don't think, he called this election because he wanted a majority in the middle of a pandemic. I don't think he's going to get it. So I'm predicting a Liberal minority. And in the riding of, I think Ellis, I thought he was out. I thought Williams was going to get in for the Conservatives. And in our northern riding, which I'm in, Mike Bossio was the Liberal who was in 2 terms ago. And then this last term we had, of course, Alberta's own Derek Sloan. And I think it's going to be 2 Liberal members in these ridings. And if there's 2 Liberal members in these ridings, that basically dictates to me it's going to be a Liberal minority government. Bob Morris, prediction. And I wanted to predict the Calgary MP from where you're from. I think she's going to get in again. Michelle Rempel Garner.
I'm pretty sure Michelle is going to win handily in our riding. Yeah.
Do you think PPC will show up on the board out there?
I haven't, I've been reading after I made this pronouncement that they weren't a real political party last week. I've been doing more reading, and I think they've got more headway in Ontario than they have in Alberta, but they're definitely making, Bernier was out here last week. I think they're gonna make headway here, but they don't need they don't need to here. I guess they think they do, but I can't see them knocking out a Conservative in Alberta, but I may be shocked by that, but I don't see it. But
okay, Bob, your predictions.
I'm going to go the other way, Bruce. I think it's going to be a Conservative minority government.
Yep.
I agree with you. I think Neil is going to get back in.
Yep.
And I think in your writing, I think Shelby's going to take
there you go. Okay. Well, we will come back next week. And what about in Calgary?
Yeah, it's going to be all blue.
Is it good? Is Michelle going to get in Calgary, Bob?
Sure.
Okay, but the riding of interest that we want to talk about is Banff Airdrie, or is it
Airdrie? Banff Airdrie, yeah.
Banff Airdrie. Is it going to be Conservative? Is the Wild Rose, are they a thing, or is that provincial?
No, that's the thing. They're just, those are just a provincial one. They're just RMLAs. So I can't see Derek Sloan
is he going to come in even 4th?
Yeah. He'll probably come second.
You think he'll come second?
Right? Yeah, the joke is if they put two Conservatives on the ballot, they get first and second, right? That's I think he'll probably will, but in that riding, it'll be 80% the Conservative, and he can pick up the scraps with the other guys. I mean, not to be harsh about it, but yeah, that's
okay. All right. Yeah. So your predictions on the overall election, Stevie.
And my problem is I'm basing on what I've heard people in Ontario, just like you. I think probably it could be a Liberal minority on Ontario, based on Ontario alone, but I think it's got to be the slimmest wherever it goes. I think the NDP is going to pick up more than everyone thought they're going to pick up. Yeah. I think even in Alberta, I think there's actually an NDP riding in Edmonton.
Yeah, there is.
And so, and in our MLA world, the NDP get a bunch of seats in Edmonton. Just sort of the nature of sort of, unions and blue collar and all that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, I think, but I don't think anyone else is gonna like. And the block's always a wild card to me. Like, I don't know how many seats they'll pick up and how much that will affect how the House sits and all that.
It surprises me that they are always in all of the debates, and they don't want to be a part of Canada.
I know.
I don't understand anyway. And so let's go to the next question. If the Liberals win, do they continue to forge a path on a minority government with the NDP, or do they work with the Bloc? And reverse of that, if the Conservatives have a minority, does the Governor General, who is the Governor General? Do you remember their name, Bob?
I do not right now.
Yeah. I just think it's Jean Sauvé, but that was probably from my.
It was a few years back.
I thought it was Elizabeth something.
Elizabeth May? No.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember. So does our Governor General go to the person with the most votes and says,
Mary Simon?
What does Mary Simon say? Mary Simon goes and says, you have got the most votes. Can you form a government? Is she obligated to go? And if the Conservatives get the most seats, who do they work with? Do they form an alliance with anyone, or do they just go at it?
I think that's been the problem from the beginning. Like, I think they just go for it.
Yeah.
And I like opposite of what I think the Liberals have done. I think they literally just try to like get all the like easy stuff and try to not make any waves.
Although in a minority government at this early on, you could almost, Joe Clark, this is what his problem is. When he beat Trudeau out in 79, he basically operated like he was in a majority government.
Right. Yeah.
And then he was done. And so he went in. But if you do that now, if you go in like you're operating a majority, I don't know that there's an appetite for another election. And so, there's this game of, well, we don't agree with this, but we're just not going to send people to vote. They'd make it work for a year or two, I would think.
Yeah. And so I think he's got to find, like, there's not going to touch the gun registry or any of that kind of stuff. Like, I think he's just got to like try to make peace a little bit, and then try to find something that he thinks most Canadians agree with him on. Yeah. And then force the other guys to try to do no confidence. And then
Bob Morris, who's your favorite prime minister of all time?
Favorite of all time?
Yeah. The Deef?
He was interesting.
Yeah. But did he scrap the Arrow program?
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard a story about John Diefenbaker, and I have been to visit both offices, the prime minister's office and the leader of the opposition's office. And so I went to the prime minister's office with the Belleville Bulls years ago, and I was in there. And then about 3 years ago, we went and visited the leader of the opposition's office. And we were in there, the lady who was giving us the tour, she goes, "You've been to both offices now. Which do you like the best?" And I said, "Honestly, the leader of the opposition's office is nicer."
Interesting.
You want to know why that is? I said, "There's more woodwork, there's more whatever." I said, "Why is that?" She said, "Well, when Diefenbaker lost the election, he was supposed to vacate the office and he refused."
Oh, wow.
So it became the leader of the opposition's office, and it just never switched back.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Interesting.
Wow. That's my wife's alma mater. She's a Diefenbaker. The
Is she?
Chiefs was, there's a John Diefenbaker High School here in Calgary named after her.
Oh, wow.
That's where she went to school.
Very interesting. So Mad Max, do you think he has any, do you think they get any seats, Bob? Do you think the PPC get any breakthrough at all in this election? Like,
no,
they keep
I'll say no.
I don't think so either. Steve?
No, that was my joke about them not being a real political party, because I don't think they get a single seat. But I think you're totally right in this, Bruce. Like, I think they're going to end up in some really like I think is the case in both the Quinte area ridings.
I think it's going to make a difference.
It's going to make a difference in those seats. The guys who should have not had any conservative opposition, they're going to lose some votes, and they're going to lose their elections. And I think it'll be that razor thin with this election that I think every little seat's going to matter. So
we were talking to someone this week, and I mean, in Trenton, it's basically an entire blue section of that riding. So it's always military, so it always goes blue. And Ryan Williams was actually campaigning yesterday in Trenton. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait a second. Okay, if he's campaigning in Trenton, they're trying to shore up the base. And I think the effect of the PPC, I'm just interested to see, I've had people reach out to me and said, oh, you're voting purple this time, eh? And I said, no, like to me, a vote for purple is a vote for red, really. And
that's how the color wheel works, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it is a fascinating thing to me, because I really get the sense that they like that there are many that feel like the second he gets a little bit toward the center, he's somehow Toolsy is somehow letting down true blue conservatives.
Yeah.
And it just bugs me that they switch so fast. Like also like, no, just I'm not doing that. Right.
I just think if the right splits, you're just letting the liberals or the left walk up the center, and they're just going to win it. So
yeah, and I think that's with the Green Party too, right? Because all of a sudden you got like Green and NDP, and the liberals they've made the history of the country bears out that they love to be what's the term they use, the natural ruling party of Canada. You know what I mean? So like I don't know. I don't want to stack like 8 more conservatives on the other side to make the conservatives seem like they're the natural ruling, but I think that's a problem. So
well, I want to end the show on one other thing, and so my daughter works at Staples, and she came home tonight, and she is doing up a Crayola display, and she was having a discussion tonight with a coworker of hers who is they were talking about the different colors, and there used to be in Crayola what they called skin color. Do you remember? Yeah, there used to be skin color. And so she was discussing this with the person who's a person of color. They were discussing it. They now have skin color. They have how many Crayola crayons that are actual colors of skin do you think they've introduced? There's 24.
Okay, I was going to say that there have to be a lot.
There's 24, and there's like almonds. There's like Crayola crayons, colors of the world crayons contain 24 specialty formulated colors that represent people from all around the world. Now that's even easier for kids to color themselves and their families and their friends from all over the globe. 24 different colors of skin.
Wow.
I mean, when I grew up, there was 4.
Yeah.
Red and yellow, black and white. They are precious in his sight, right?
That's it. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Anyway, it was just interesting that this has come up now. Crayola, 24 different crayons, and my daughter was just bringing it up. She goes, it's just changed in the last year that you've got all these different colors of crayon.
Yeah, and there was a Band-Aid thing at one point where Band-Aids, they always called them skin color Band-Aids, right? And they were clearly not to match everyone's skin type, right? And
right.
So
and I think my daughter's point was her coworker, who is a person of color, he's like, this is ridiculous. I'd call it skin color, like, and that was his take on it. So I think we're in this sensitive time when we don't know what to say and don't know what to do. And yeah, it was just an observation. It's got even into Crayola crayons.
Yeah, and the good thing about like you mentioned before about us here in Tomfoolery is we are a bunch of idiots. So
we're complete morons, right?
That's our saving grace, eh, Bobby?
I'm saying nothing. I don't want to offend. I don't want to offend anyone.
And it's funny. Well, I'll be out talking to people and say, "What do you talk about in Tomfoolery?" And it's like, well, we talk about sports, we talk about politics, and I talked about a few of the things we're going to talk about, and people are like, "Oh, you can't talk about that." And the thing I like about it is, like, even talking, like you kind of talk about like even crayon colors, right? And at first it's like, oh, it's a little uncomfortable, but we gotta talk this stuff out, right?
Yeah.
And I think even if we disagree, we have to be able to talk things out. And there's been no more divisive time right now in the world. I mean, it's very divisive, and a lot of it revolves currently right now about around vaccinations. And I mean, families. I know of a friend who's not vaccinated, and his in-laws are, and they said, well, you're welcome to come for Thanksgiving, but we're going to ask you to stay out in the parking lot, out in the driveway.
Yeah.
And it's like,
oh
wow. So never in a time has it been so divided. And I think, it's just, we like to have fun and joke about things and not concentrate on the differences, but just concentrate on having fun.
Yeah.
And is that all right, Bob? Like, but
that's
mind
the
you,
way I look at it. Yep.
but we've been teasing you awful hard about voting for Anne Marie Paul, and I don't think you're too happy with us.
Oh no,
he's got broad shoulders, Brucey. Okay. He can take it.
I was going to wait till we're off here, but I'll ask you now. What color shirt are we supposed to wear next week? I didn't get the memo, so
I'm wearing my Mercy Me Inhale Exhale shirt tonight.
Okay.
And I know that I'm going to start wearing jerseys again, but I've been awful warm and hot, so I just like, you know what? Forget it. I'll wear t-shirts.
I'm going to wear red next week, Bobby, just because I feel like it's time to bring it back.
Yeah, does that mean you're like flaunting the?
I'm just and like you say, Brucey, just trying to make everyone come together and have fun and enjoy it.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yup. You want to go do karate in the garage? Yup.
Oh, speaking of garage, I don't think we want to go do karate in the garage because my garage, I've got lots of junk out there. And this week I've got a thing to catch the chipmunks because chipmunks have been getting up into my van and they busted my airbags in the van. So I've got this thing to catch it. This week I caught a giant rat.
Ooh,
like
yikes.
The big tail and the whole, it was disgusting. It was, so yeah, I got to clean up the garage before we can go out and play karate in the garage.
That's a good call. No giant rats.
No rats. Next week we'll talk hockey. Hockey is back. And perhaps the Blue Jays will be making a run. I sent you guys something today. It was one of these guys is the greatest hitter of all time, or greatest power hitter of all time, and the other one is Aaron Judge.
There
it was
it
a
is.
picture of a kid from the Sandlot movie, right? So.
Oh yeah.
But today it looked like the Yankees were actually losing, so they are out of the playoffs as of now. Next week we'll discuss it more.
That's what we like to hear. Hear.
We don't like the Yankees. For the Edge of Tom Foolery, my name is Bruce Mackey.
I'm Bob Morris.
I am Steve Height.
Hey, and we'll see you next week, and we'll break down the election results. Have a great week, everyone, and don't forget to vote.